Okay, I mean, I guess I'm introducing this.
We're live.
Are we live?
Yeah, we are
And we
live.
are live.
We are live.
Okay, and welcome everyone. This is Spoken Openness, episode 28.
That's right. Episode 28.
20, episode 8.
Number
And,
28. Version 28.
right. So, as usual, we're bringing you a quote. And this quote was first pronounced by, this Roman emperor called Marcus Aurelius.
Yes.
Yeah, Aurelius. Yeah. So Marcus Aurelius, he
Marcus.
famously wrote meditations. Did he invented the word meditation? I heard.
Marcus. No.
No.
Guaranteed
Oh,
no.
No. Sorry about that. That was totally. Okay, let's do it. Marco Aurelio.
Yes. Marco Aurelio.
Yep. He
Yeah.
said, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." Okay, our life is what our thoughts make it.
Kind of like a you are what you think kind of a thing.
Yep. A thought is an intention. An intention is an action. An action
Yep.
becomes behavior, and behavior throughout life becomes destiny. Something around that idea. Maybe.
Yes. And also your interpretation of whatever stimulus, whatever your senses are bringing in, your interpretation
Yes.
of that is generating what you are believing to think that reality is. And so as you
Totally.
interpret things, you are coloring what the reality actually is. And so those are thoughts, and then your life is the summary of all of that, the actions you take and the collection of sensory input, and your interpretation of that sensory input becomes
Yep.
the totality of your life experience.
Yes, I agree. Although
Yep.
he may be putting a lot of emphasis or a lot of importance.
Are you talking about Marco Aurelio?
Yes, Marco Aurelio, he may be
Yeah.
putting a lot of importance on thoughts. And, sometimes thoughts come and go without us really having much control of them.
That's the big phrase, sometimes thoughts are bots.
Yep. And memes. Bot memes.
Yeah.
Nano bot memes.
Sometimes thoughts are bots.
Mm-hmm.
So you think
And
he's putting too
sometimes
much...
you- Yeah.
You think he's putting too much emphasis on thoughts?
He may be. Like, thought equals life. And
Right.
I guess that's true. But you can't really escape thought. I mean, that's one. And also, you can't really control what you're thinking except through, I don't know, like, what is it? Using tools or using different methods we've previously discussed, so
sure.
that you change thought patterns.
Yeah.
But I guess, yeah, I mean,
Well, those
my
changing...
claim that he's putting a lot of emphasis or a lot of importance in thought may be just me wanting to create controversy around the quote.
Let's take the position that everything is basically deterministic. You're an automaton that has been genes, nature, nurture. You're nature, nurture. You're a product of that, and there's almost nothing you could do. You are
Yes.
living throughout the thing. So then it's like, okay, well then your thoughts aren't really your thoughts, are they? They're a byproduct of the nature, nurture machine that you are. You're a totality of the things you've experienced, learned, and your genetics, and that the things that are emerging, the thoughts that are emerging, Well,
Mm-hmm.
those aren't really yours. I mean, not yours in the sense that you don't own them. You're not entitled to think you're creating them, or
Yep.
you're some kind of manufacturer of thought, free will, control, what have you. You're just these thoughts are emerging, and therefore life isn't what your thoughts are making it. Your thoughts are just, they are what they are, and they're going to be what they're going to be.
They're totally
So
predetermined.
they're predetermined.
So
And
does that mean you cannot make a truth claim? Like you can't speak truth from your own will. Like you can't speak your truth. You're just repeating pre-programmed
that's
things.
Yeah, if you want to go into the deterministic versus free will thing, that's a whole different, I think, conversation.
Okay.
Perhaps
Yeah, I can
that's,
see how that's a different conversation. So
but
let's not digress.
we can jump in there. We can hold that thought. But if life is what your thoughts are making it, then yeah, your life is predetermined, because your thoughts are in that sense predetermined. So then the statement,
Totally.
so then if things are deterministic, then that statement is almost a non-statement. It's like saying your life is what your thoughts are automatically going to make it, and then life is just life.
Yeah, that's like just saying the obvious, right?
Yeah. I mean, and this is me attempting to try to find fault with the statement, but maybe I should just give up, because I kind of
I think we can find it.
I kind of tend to
I
believe
think
that
there's an important point to be made.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess what I would say is, like, I think there's a limit to the ability to, that thing of like life is what you think it is, and every situation is like, you can decide if it's a good situation or a bad situation, and if you're optimistic all the time, then the world is a much better place. It's like, I think that's true to a degree. You can still have a sequence of awful situations, and you can try to make the best of it, but it's like, it's not like you're going to change the situation. You can change, like, the situation could still be bad. There's going to
Exactly.
be,
You can only change how you react to it.
yeah, you can be Solzhenitsyn.
Solzhenitsyn. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretzel.
You could be that guy if you wanted to.
You could be that guy, but like it's like your thoughts are only going to be able to go so far to change your situation that you're in.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
your life is what it is, plus as best you can improve it with your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But your life is your life. And you can kind of color it, and you can improve upon it, and you can direct it with your thought your thought ability.
Yeah.
But you're not going to really
I like that word, thoughtability.
Yeah, but it's to a degree, I guess, So I guess all I would say is maybe I'll add to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you saying?
Yes.
Well, you're
yes.
gonna
and
find
also
it-
we're not reading the quote in context, so
No.
he might be we might be saying like Marcus Aurelius was wrong, and we just found something that's way more wise.
Also,
This is not the case.
what you're gonna get with this podcast is we're gonna read from the greatest minds of history, and then we're just gonna tear it apart because we know better than all of these people.
Exactly, and because we can,
Because we can.
and it's fun.
And we should, because we need to share our wisdom, because these guys, if we were around, we'd have been, listen, Marcus, listen, buddy.
Yeah.
You need
yeah.
to add things to the statement. It's a little bit, all right, I know you're up at night every night because you're such a wise emperor with your philosophy,
wise.
and your before bed
Yes.
you're writing in your diary these beautiful things about life, okay?
Journaling every night.
You need a little bit more wisdom, all right? And we could provide that for him.
Yeah, and by the way, we're also standing in the shoulder of giants, meaning like we've dived deep into the minds of such amazing individuals.
I would
that
say
we can.
I would say for me maybe shallow, like very shallow. I don't
No. I'd say even deeper than themselves. Even.
Got it. You're right. Yes, we've gone deeper than all of these thinkers for a very long time, and the insights that we've uncovered are bar none. We set the bar.
Yes.
You can look elsewhere if you want to get some wisdom insights, but if everyone is kind of softball. We play baseball here. This is
Exactly.
this is
come
real.
on, guys. I hope the slight sarcasm tone is perceivable on the other end.
It's heavy,
Yo,
heavy.
so I do think that just saying like life equals your thoughts is a
Yes.
little bit
Reductionist.
yes, I mean there's so many other things at play in the world that are outside our control
Always,
and that
yeah.
have been put there for a reason with
Yeah.
a hidden agenda behind it. And
Where are you going with
we're I mean I'm not gonna talk about a specific hidden agenda here.
Let's see where he goes with this.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
there's so many hidden agendas in the world where there's so many possibilities. Your life could be developing inside that hidden agenda where you're basically
What's the hidden agenda? What are you talking about?
I don't know, man. I mean, so many hidden agendas out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying here's the dilemma I'm presenting. And I
Yeah.
think this is a very popular, I guess, exploration in the current, shall I say, self-improvement scene,
Yep.
where people are proposing if you change your thoughts and your beliefs and you start improving your life, you can make it, basically. You can improve, you can change your life for the better. And there's some there, and I really do believe that. And
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
saying the I guess the other idea I've been hearing around that counters that is your individual choices and your thought patterns will only take you so far because the world is so complex and the systems are so in place.
Yes.
That
Your
the-
systems
yeah.
as well as the external systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The grooves of your
Yes.
mental activity and your yeah.
Right.
But
Exactly.
I think without like I think it's pretty safe to say, and this is kind of the kickflip that we can do every time. But I think it's both end. You know what I mean? It's both.
I love that trick. Kickflip is my
I
favorite
know.
trick.
It's both end. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's both end. It's and I guess that's just where what I was saying with to a degree. We're able
Absolutely.
to manifest destiny and change our habits and change our
Yes.
perceptions and our beliefs and try to project outward positive intentions and get things in response that kind of are playing off of your change of being and consciousness and create some sort of spiral of positivity and maybe there's some
Absolutely,
kind of
yeah.
like what's that thing one a butterfly can make a hurricane kind of a kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean you're totally interconnected. So
Yeah.
there's I don't know how to say it, like an exponential factor that can take place
Yes,
when
an
you
EF.
start. Yeah, EF.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I do think it's both and, but it's also
Yeah.
one first, then the other. Because if you're trying to change the world, you totally need to start with your own things that you can maybe change, and then
Right,
go
because
from there.
if the world is your thoughts, then you need to change your thoughts in order to start changing your reality of existing within the world.
Yes.
And that's kind of the implication. If you take the quote at face value, that's the implication of the quote.
Totally.
I would.
Yeah.
That's and
So.
so
yeah,
then.
when
So then, if we say that it's beneficial to do that, and that it's possible to do that, and we grant the ability of that being possible, then basically, the smart thing to do, if you also believe that it's possible to catalyze it in a sort of in a catalyze it in some way, then the proper thing to do would be hunt for the EF. You know what I'm saying? It would be
hunt for the EF.
it would be to start
Totally.
a hunt, a search. It would be to hunt for the EF, and then when you find the EF, then start
Hold on.
hold on and execute the EF.
Yeah.
And that would be the exponential factor.
And if you reach the exponential factor, try to stay there. That's it.
Yeah.
So every time I hear this,
Execute the exponential factor in your life.
yes.
Yeah, but first,
I love it.
but we got to find it first. We got to hunt for the EF. Do you want to try to find the EF?
We should try to find the EF, but I just wanted to notice.
Yes.
Note. Actually, I just wanted to make a note.
You noticed.
That. I've recently been hearing this argument going around that the EF is a little bit invalid because...
I feel like I've never heard of the EF. What do you think is the
the
EF?
exponential factor? No, here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Have you heard some, I don't know, philosophers, mental model exposers
Exposés.
that are saying these guys are basically saying personal responsibility only goes that far. It's not that important, and like your choice in life don't really impact the world. And
Whoa, who are these people?
Yes, who are these people? I've been yes, and I mean I feel what I'm trying to say is all I want to do is acknowledge. I feel where they're coming from.
Yeah, where are they coming from?
I think they're coming from.
They're denying the EF.
They're totally denying the EF, and they're totally denying their own capacity to start setting things in order and start setting positive transformation in motion. So
Can you tell me why?
I think because they are either angry or completely not satisfied.
No, but can you tell me the explanation or the why? What's the reasoning behind denying the EF? You know what I'm saying?
They're basically saying
they're EFDs, really. They're exponential factor deniers.
I think what they're saying is, hey everyone, we are so much smarter than all of you personal responsibility guys that
let's steelman their argument.
Okay, let me
try. Because I already feel a very kind of like a mocky tone with your.
Okay, should we try to roll through this? Okay, so
we need to RP the EFDs.
Yes. Okay. Here's what I think. Here's what I think. Yeah. If you only focus on the things you can improve about yourself and your thoughts and change your beliefs so that you can change your daily habits.
Right.
This is what society, and by society I mean the people that are implementing the system and that are benefiting from the system, this is what they want you to be thinking. Because there's bad agents out there. There's psychopaths. There's secret societies that govern the world, and that they
buddy.
And there's huge corporations that want you sucked in consumerism and all of these crazy things that go around the world. Secret
societies do not run the world.
This is just one argument. Some of the more radical.
This is not. I think this is not the position of EFDs.
Yes, I think EFDs are saying, "Hey guys, we need to wake up and rebel against these systems that are harmful to the world, and if we only focus on our personal choices, then this is what makes the horrible things about reality just go on. Everyone's just focused on their own personal self-help things." I mean, this is one argument that has to make sense.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to understand who you're talking about, the EFDs. You're talking about people who are saying like, "Oh, you need to protest and do social activism
political
for large
activism."
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, right? You're talking about people who are saying they need to make large scale social change, and that if you are just focused on your own personal thing, nothing's going to change in the big scheme of things, because if you're just focused on what you're doing, then you're not addressing large scale change. Those are the people
Right.
you're talking about.
And secret societies,
I wouldn't-
societies are running the world.
No,
Just
that's-
kidding. No,
we're-
no, no.
we're
No, no,
not-
no, no, no.
Let's take that out of this whole thing. Like that's
Yes, that was a joke, obviously.
yeah. EFDs are not. We're trying to steel man EFDs.
Yes. Let's focus here.
But I don't think that I don't think those are EFDs really. I think those are people that are inspired by large political movement that
By Gandhi. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
yeah, okay. And so I think that like in philosophy, I think there's got to be you're saying that those are the only EFDs?
No, I'm not saying they're the only ones. I'm just went for one argument that kind of made sense.
Yeah.
And
Well, let's
put it
find
out
our
there.
own steelman argument.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're gonna hunt for the EFD, then you have to believe that it's useful to do that. So I would say so. The
is
EFD,
the question what are they denying? Is that a good question?
I don't think so. Here's the thing. I would say what you're talking about, these people, or I guess large scale movements that are talking about that we shouldn't focus on personal responsibility. It's not that they're denying the ability for you to improve yourself. They're saying that things are so drastic and dire and need to be addressed so fast that we don't have time for you to become a better person because we need to tear down the systems that are destroying whatever and oppressing and so on and so forth. So I don't think that they're actually EFDs. I think that they're denying the prescience of focusing on self-improvement and improving yourself as a person because
They're denying the both and aspect of it.
they're not denying the both and aspect of it at all. They're not denying anything. They're saying that we don't have time for that.
Ignoring it. Okay.
Ignoring it. They're saying that
Yeah.
there's a hierarchy of, but actual EFDs, I would like to try to, and I don't even think we've defined it. I would say that, I can't even remember, exponential
Factor.
exponential factor.
Deniers.
Okay, so I don't even know what's an exponential factor. What are we talking about?
The
I think-
exponential factor, I think it's best explained when you can reach one people, that people can reach another people. Now you have two people, then you have four. And
Okay,
then
we're
I
interpreting
guess it goes
the
from there.
exponential factor very differently because it's very abstract and we kind of just invented the term. So maybe we,
Yes, I have no idea what I'm saying. By
So
the way.
maybe we should narrow this in a little bit. I think exponential factor is the thing that if you focus on is going to result in the largest effect in terms of transforming yourself towards your ideal of what you would like to head towards. So the EF is the thing that if you focus on most rapidly and exponentially puts you on the path towards who you would like to be and the improvements you would like to make. That's what I see the EFD is, or the EF is.
yeah.
And then I guess an EFD would be like, listen, what are you talking about? There's no thing that you can focus on that's going to exponentially send you towards a path of your designed ideal. And that, like, I guess an EFD is basically saying there's no exponential element in self-improvement, maybe. And a steelman of like an EFD steelman is basically, I would say, is saying, look, you can improve yourself, but these things are hardwired, habits are hardwired, and it's gonna be slow, incremental, and it's going to take, But then I would say that and maybe this is what we think about. We've talked about this. Is there a way to embrace the archetypal transformation of the hero's journey as a protocol, as a framework for that's an EF, maybe that's an EF. That's an exponential factor. If you embrace that, descending into the underworld, the call to action, descend into underworld, like emerging out of the underworld, having a little bit of scars, but being stronger and knowing how to implement parts of your psyche and your subconscious and the shadow to empower yourself towards becoming your higher self or the better version of yourself or self-improvement, whatever. And that framework is the thing that can EF yourself. Basically, we're trying to say everybody EF yourself into the future. and screw those EFDs, because if we believe that it's possible, then there's a possibility of actually incorporating that, and it's better to believe that even if it's not true.
Yo, that was legit right there. Word.
Answer. I tried to answer, guy.
Yes, yes. And I think...
But, I mean, I can EFD because we've tried to do this, and I
Totally.
think there's usefulness in the way that we've approached the self-improvement thing. But I think that I have yet to experience an EF moment or an EF. Do you think you've had EFs? Have you EF'd yourself?
The thing is, I don't think we've totally nailed EF yet. Because I think there's an aspect of it that we need to incorporate to the definition.
Yeah, let's define this. Let's finish our definition. I'm sorry, I just rambled there like a crazy guy. Crazy
it's
answer
good.
guy.
And I think Mr. Answer Guy was spot on. I just wanted to add one thing to that.
Let's add more than one thing. Yeah.
Which is, we go through the hero's journey, but if we do that in isolation, there's no ripple effect. And is it correct to say that the ripple effect of going through the hero's journey, assuming that's contagious, if you don't do it in isolation, and you can start impacting your little brother or your mom?
Yeah, but okay,
and,
but
yeah.
if you, I think if you become what you consider to be a much better person of yourself, it's going to ripple across the entire reality of the world that you inhabit. So I will push back on the claim that in isolation it's not going to, if you just become a monk, maybe, but if you're still embedded in the world, then it's going to ripple everywhere. But
that wouldn't be isolation. Yeah.
If you're talking about ripple affecting the EF, then you're right. Then I think you're right. If you're talking about ripple affecting the process, it's kind of like the shamanic journey too. It's like
Totally.
So I already interrupted and I'm rambling.
The journey
again.
to your own underworld.
And then back. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there is a ripple effect to that, the ultimate factor of the EF,
the UF of the EF,
yeah, that would be what is it? I don't know how to say this. Let me put my thoughts in order. Okay, so if we're all taking care of the little things that we can control, then the whole will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, if every part in a system is working proper, or if every part of the system is working correctly, then the machine is going to be running on the whole.
Yes.
And all the
I think an EFD would be like, no, there's greater powers at play here in this
secret societies.
Secret society induced reality.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. But that's not true. All secret societies have been exposed by now.
EFDs are kind of it's like the framework of thought. I don't know. That's like there's all the pill color talk. EFDs are kind of black pill. They're like, look, there's these forces that are out there that are so powerful. The political forces, the economic forces, the corporate forces. We don't really have. The black pill is like understanding kind of the cynical and real way that the world works, the way the media works, the way that everything functions, that everything's a narrative, and that there's these control systems, and that you kind of have a better sense of actually how things work, which is kind of cynical and dark. And the black pill is saying like, well, I'm going to say that there's nothing we can do, and there's nothing that I can do, and there's nothing, like, there's no way that my self-improvement is going to change anything on the whole. And so the only thing to do is to either give up completely or to try to tear it down. And the and the white pill is understanding that this is all, and this I'm stealing, I guess, Michael Malice's framework of the pill definitions.
Okay.
And we don't have to accept those, but I think it's just maybe a useful way to interpret some of the things we're talking about. And then the white pill is like, okay, well, you understand the red pill, you get the kind of the way the system is working and kind of more cynical aspects of the system and the power dynamics, but you believe that there's hope and that there's potential and that history on a trend on the whole has consistently been improving for the average person, and that you have the power to make change starting individually and living according to your own principles and that kind of a thing, and that there's potential for change. And that's almost, I mean, because like there's kind of two conversations. There's the EF and the EFD conversation on a societal level. That's the SEF and the SEFDs. But then I think there's the personal. So there's the PEF and the PEFDs, which is kind of the personal exponential factor, which is more about your own journey, your own metaphysical transformation, your own self-improvement process, your own spiritual path, your own whatever you would like to call that. So there's the PEF, PEFD, and then there's the SEF and the SEFD. So there's two conversations there. And I like this conversation. I like the EF conversation because I like thinking about the possibility of there being a catalyzing focus element that can catalyze transformation.
Totally.
And like that is a very
yeah.
But and
So
hopefully
shall
and the last, sorry, and I'm rambling again, but the last thing I would say is I hope that we can approach this conversation with a sense of that it's not a free like a shortcut, but that it's a tool to that can be incorporated or focused on, and will take work and will take focus and so on and so forth. But that we're not looking for some kind of free enlightenment path or whatever.
Exactly. No, in many ways, it's the opposite of a shortcut. It's actually doing the hard work, which I think we're symbolizing as going into your own underworld and back.
With the archetypal kind of framework.
Yeah.
The hero's journey.
And I would like to propose another idea that I think
beautiful.
This exponential factor deniers are putting out there.
Yeah.
You know how we talked about
by the way, they don't exist, we made them up.
Determinism and how we're programmed, and so that takes me back to the Marcus Aurelius quote. Yeah. He's talking about thoughts having a very direct effect on the result of your life, right? And if we talk about thoughts not being generated originally, but being pre-programmed, right?
I don't buy that, though. Do you buy that?
No, me neither. I mean, there is a lot of programming going around, but I think we're capable of producing original ideas and thinking for ourselves, basically.
Yes.
But I've heard this claim going around that there's some people that are so programmed and so inside the status quo, the popular ideas that are currently going on in Western culture, that they're so obsessed and they've been, what is the word, like desensitized in their conscience and moral compass, that they lack the ability to enter a hero's journey completely. And they have a name for these people. They use a gaming concept, which is the non-player character.
Yeah, I did this. I don't. This is really silly. I think that whole thing is silly.
I think that whole NPC thing is silly, but it's interesting for me to think about how is there anyone that's so ingrained in I don't know the popular culture that they just lack the capacity to, or maybe not even. I'm not talking about culture. Let's talk about like
Sure. This
I
is
don't
what I
know
would.
what's the word.
This is what I would say though. I think that
Yeah.
like everybody holds a percentage of everyone holds thoughts that the whole society holds, and that there's
Mm-hmm.
popular opinions and there's and there's like kind of fringe ideas and there's all kinds of different ideas out there, and there's
Yeah.
some people that on average the majority of their thoughts may be more popular or may be a part of the popular zeitgeist than other people. But
Totally.
that's not that they're not individuals that are thinking and determining things. I think it's this weird kind of attempt to make a hierarchy of people who are independent and free will kind of enactors, and then this like set of people who are like you're making
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
classes
Sounds
of
like a very superficial way to
yeah,
categorize
it's this
people.
really
And
weird kind of gross way of saying that some people are
totally.
robots, and it's like
Yes. Yes.
it's this
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
dehumanizing weird kind of a thing. But
But I
I
think that's what we can save from that idea. We can save the fact
yeah
or the observation that um, there's psychopaths out there, and these people don't want to change actually, and they don't, and some people they're in great positions of power. So that's another argument that I've encountered that sometimes in many arguments kind of wins because they're basically saying, I mean, there's psychopaths going around that are implementing these processes in the world that your individual actions are never going to counter at all.
yeah
So
this
that's
is
a very negative, of course. That's a very
yeah
negative
yeah you keep
view of
you
the future.
yeah we keep leaning back into kind of the social change kind of a thing. You're saying that there's too many that yeah the positions of the idea of there being positions of power that are so powerful that there's nothing that individuals can do because of the and I mean
And even if there was such
yeah
new movement, like some consciousness awakening movement, that would be like a mass thing that suddenly takes off. Even if that happened, these people would totally be in control of stopping it, or something along those lines, right?
yeah I don't know
I don't know. I'm just trying to give more weight to the deniers, trying to like
yeah
make the attempt to
I'm
understand
interested
some of these positions.
yeah I think if we believe the premise that in order for there to be change on a larger level, that there needs to be on a personal level. And so if that's the case, then I think it would do us well to focus on the EF on a personal level, on a personal process and a personal journey level. And if we
Yeah.
can kind of figure out the potential for there being an EF for transforming yourself towards in a direction towards what you would consider to be a personal ideal, that would be an important thing to figure out. And I'm excited to try to figure that out, and then to if we figure that out, see if that is something that maybe could be applied to a larger set of individuals. And
For sure.
but yeah, I mean, I just in general of the societal level, I don't buy the idea that there's positions that are so powerful and that there's nothing that can happen. I think that that's a narrative that's very useful to people who are in good positions currently. But like
Yeah.
it's I think it's I don't like the give up black pill, there's no hope position. I mean, I just don't buy that for a second.
I hate hopelessness. Yes, for sure. I mean,
Um,
and also, in what time frame? Everything is doable. It depends on also
yeah.
how fast you want it.
Yeah. So I would say the way that I'm kind of thinking of trying to find an EF, if the idea is a hunt for the EF, then it would be looking for what is the focus, or what is the approach, or what is the habit, what is the process, how might someone incorporate the archetypal hero's journey in their life in a way so that it behaves as an EF.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is super interesting, and maybe I would like to do some investigations into shamanic initiation ceremonies and into
Yeah,
story, and we can talk about archetype and
for
somehow
sure.
seeing if there's a way to incorporate some of the info into your life, to see
Totally.
if you can
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think a great idea that has helped me a lot around these dilemmas and explorations is the just try to keep a very pragmatic mindset and try to find what's useful about the exploration, right? And then so thinking in terms of what is it that you can actually control, what's in
Mhm.
your control. Then all of these ideas about like hidden agendas or exterior or like external factors
Yeah.
that are bigger than you basically,
Yeah.
they just fade away. I mean, what can you control and stick to that? Everything else might just be
First answer,
analysis.
first answer, your thoughts.
What's that?
The first answer I would say is your thoughts. We have the capacity to control those.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
but this is the thing, and this has been part of our discussions, and kind of the thing that one of the things that I personally have been trying to figure out is I accept the idea that you can control your thoughts. And I accept the idea that it takes practice and it takes time and it takes effort, but that it's possible. And I accept the fact that in changing the way that you think and the thoughts that you have, you're going to affect your reality, and you're going to be able to work towards something that you consider to be ideal. I believe that that's a process that exists and that that's possible. But
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, there's so many thoughts to have. There's so many thoughts that you could say, well, this is the way, this is the approach, this is the philosophy, this is the religious kind of embedding, this is the philosophical background that I feel like is most effective at catalyzing me towards this thing. So it's just becomes this question of like, how do you not cherry pick, but how do you
Yeah.
select from an entire world and history of thought and belief so that you can generate, because if you believe that's possible, then
Yes.
there also must be the best possible combination. And maybe it's not the
Exactly.
same for
Exactly.
everybody, and maybe so, but it just becomes this
Yeah.
unbelievable, unimaginably complex thing
Yeah.
to try to achieve. It's like, what's the collection that I want
Yes.
to
That's
select?
the great decision paralysis.
Yeah.
What is it? What's the? I don't know.
The
There's
DP.
the DP. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
choice
but
paralysis or something like that. I mean, you
yeah.
can't really know, and I think that's where this might ideas about truth or
Yeah.
what's right are
Yeah.
something to consider because
Yeah.
that's where we start choosing. That's where we start making
Yes.
decision. I disregard this. I incorporate this. This is truth. This is false. This is correct.
Yes.
This is not correct.
And the curveball that gets put into that kind of I like part of the thing that I've uncovered through these conversations for me personally is, okay, well, not just truth, but what about the things that aren't like rationally quote unquote true, but will benefit you to believe? Because then
Yes. Yeah.
then that doesn't even open up the possibility of ideas to have within the realm of, okay, what do I think is true, and I'm going to select this thing. It's like, no, what could I believe that's not true that will help me be whatever it is, be closer to the ideal that I want? Because if you're going to incorporate something that's not necessarily untrue, well, then that's literally anything.
Yes. Yes.
And the collection becomes like the variables become and the options become infinite.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I think optimism versus pessimism becomes a choice. And
Right.
even if you have to make it up, like as you said, like what's the usefulness of choosing to believe something that's not rational?
Yeah.
If it's gonna turn you into an optimist, at least in the short term, and
Yeah.
you're gonna ride that optimism wave and it's going to bring some value into your life, then what if it's not rational, but it's useful?
Okay, so this is an important factor to bring in. I think it's the idea, and this is something to explore, and I'll try to land the plane soon. But the idea that if you believe that whatever this thing is going to keep you, if you believe this is going to help you get you towards your personal ideal in some way, if you believe that, then that's enough. And so then maybe maybe there's somehow of incorporating your intuition and your awareness and your concentration to be aware and use it almost like a temperature reading. Like, do I believe this is gonna keep my mindset positive towards thinking that this is going to pull me towards the ideal, or do I believe that I think it is, but I know that it's temporary, or I don't know if this will maintain a positive orientation. It's just something that I think is useful. Or maybe there's a way that we can generate a tool, of a measurement tool, and it has something to do with belief, and it has something to do with positivity, and it has something to do with there's something there that's like a tool or a technique or something that we can explore for narrowing the options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think this is where journaling is a great tool, because you can monitor throughout time.
And mindfulness.
Yes, absolutely. And so, just to slowly ride the wave out.
Yep.
So it is possible for you to change your thoughts. But it's not, I guess, it's more like you can begin to change your thoughts.
Yeah.
You won't change them all at once, but you can use all of these things we've mentioned.
Yes.
So that you can begin to change your thoughts, and through that process begin to change your life, and then begin to change the world.
Yes. And I will almost use something I was just thinking about to this effect is like, even if it's not true, this is maybe one of the beliefs that if it's not true, it's still beneficial to believe it's true. Like, how helpful is it to believe that you can't change your thoughts and change your beliefs, and that will benefit your life? How does that help you? That doesn't help you. So this is maybe one of the ideas that we are deciding. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. Believing it's true is going to have a potential, at least, whereas the other thing is denying a potential. And so maybe this is one of those things that we can agree, and maybe we can decide, but maybe it's one of those things to go, no, you can change your thoughts, and it will benefit you, and it is possible, and then just leave that. That's a given. So then the next is the discussion about developing tools for orienting and for deciding on the things that you're going to incorporate, and that's the place to be in, not the place of...
that's where the exponential factor takes place.
That's where you can find the EF. So one of the takeaways of this conversation, I'll take away the EF and try to think about what that means and define it. I think it's I like it. I like So I think that's the main takeaway. And thinking about the possibility of incorporating hero's journey and archetypes in some way, that's cool. And I like that. I'm all about that.
Totally.
And
and that's contagious, I think. So that's interesting. The fact that that's contagious, it gives me hope.
That what's contagious?
The process of going into the underworld and coming back, if someone sees that, they're like, can I do that for myself?
Is it? Yeah.
I think so. I think it's contagious. Yeah. I think if someone does it publicly, you didn't know that existed, you notice he did it or he's talking about it, that kind of gives you permission to do it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think there's a lot of psychology that comes into play with that kind of a thing, or the potential for it to be contagious. And maybe that's something we can talk about,
It's an
because
exploration.
people also, I think people are also very good at that, thinking that it's not true, or that it's just hype, or that it's not possible, and it's just, oh, that there's there's these outliers, and but that's not going to be me. And that like, I think that people are very quick to make
Put
them,
their guard up.
yeah, and because it's easy to do that, because then if you think that it's not possible, then you don't have to do any of the work, and you don't have to actually make any changes, and it's easy.
If you don't have to change, then you're okay.
Yeah,
Then you're good.
then
and that
it is
feels
what
good.
it is, and that feels good, and
Yeah.
it's easy. So I think the
And
contagious
you don't
thing
hate
is,
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Alright.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for this space.
Thanks for
The
this.
time
Time-space continuum is still here.
Yep.
And this was episode 28. Almost, we're getting to 30.
We're almost getting to 30.
We're almost getting to 30.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks for the convo. I look forward to the next one.
Likewise. All right. Peace.
Peace.